Is there a way to better eat for hormone balancing?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, hands down, you got to get away from the sugar. I mean,
Yeah.
just hands down. And for many reasons, besides even just hormones, and you have lots of podcasts about that, your gut health and sugar. But sugar is just makes your brain and your hormones crazy. They just do. I think the part we're missing is we're not getting enough fats. Our omega-3, especially for women. So for food wise, avocados, fish,
Coconut oil, olive
wonderful,
oil,
olive, right?
nuts.
Lots of nuts, yes. But you know what? If you're not going to do it, then take some omega-3. So I think nutrients are. I think we would be not fair to women if we didn't at least address that we're short on our omega-3. We're generally short on our vitamin D, our B12.
Sometimes DHEA.
Correct. DHEA, that's, over the counter. That's, DHEA is a great way. It's a pro hormone. It's before the hormones. And if you don't have the pro hormone, how are you going to make the hormone?
Right.
And then I also really, in my practice in the last few years, I've been doing a little bit more iodine just to make sure I do that in the form of Celtic sea salt, or you can do the Himalayan sea salts. But I do that's all interplayed, because as soon as you mess up your traditional female hormones you're thinking of, what do you think's next? Your thyroid. And and everybody always wonders because they're connected. It's your thermostat.
Yeah.
And it's
The
connected.
pituitary regulates all of those,
It
right? I mean,
does.
it's kind of the master puppeteer, regulating a woman's menstrual cycle, regulating a woman's thyroid level, regulating your body temperature, your metabolic rate.
So is that why hot flashes happen?
Yes, it has to do with having an abnormal feedback. And so you just literally, you literally don't, it's that progesterone estrogen imbalance that does it. And that's where you get what are called vasomotor symptoms, or just changes in your blood vessels and things like that. And we have to, we pay a lot of attention to hot flashes. What I don't like is people think, oh, I got through that. I don't have hot flashes anymore.
Oh, so that they're over with
all that means is that you don't even have the ability to mount that response anymore. You're just sicker. So I spend a lot of my day explaining to people, you don't really get through being deficient. You either correct it or you don't. And if you don't correct it, it gets worse. So I think the biggest fallacy that has somehow been created, and I think it came through the traditional model, because I remember how I was taught, was, okay, so 50 to 55 or something like that. But again, it's because you're not flashing anymore, just means you're sicker.
Yeah. Doesn't mean that you've gotten through it.
It doesn't mean
it's in
you
your
don't
rearview
get
mirror.
through menopause. You
That's a
have to
great
fix
point.
it.
Is it funny that I actually look forward to menopause because I run so cold? Like my hands are so cold right now.
They are.
Always. And it always has been that way. And so I laugh. I'm like, I feel like I'm going to look forward to hot flashes, like not being freezing all the time.
I still think you could make an argument for the fact that if you are abnormally cold, or I think again you have to go back to, what is it about your internal clock? What is it about your homeostasis that keeps you cold? For you, you don't have a lot of thermal regulation. You don't have a lot of fat, but also we have to look at your thyroid, right? Because that's
Thyroid,
controlling
I think
your
is good. I always wondered if I
temperature.
had Raynaud's syndrome.
You could.
I don't know.
I think again though, you still have to look at, am I balanced? Where am I balanced? Do you have enough iodine? Or do you have enough selenium? Are you supporting your thyroid enough? Are you converting from inactive, even though your thyroid might look okay?
Yeah.
Do you really going from inactive to active? We talk a lot about folic acid going to folate. It's that same concept. Do you have the good stuff? Do you have the active stuff?
Right.
Okay.
Your body doesn't
Meaning
recognize that
like
stuff. It has to activate it.
The
right?
T4 into T3.
Right.
The thyroid hormone T4 converting.
Right, because
the thyroid hormone
T4
T3.
is just a reserve. It's T3. Every cell on the body has a T3 receptor. Remember, we said it's your regulator, right? And for energy, metabolism, temperature, brain. So we have to make sure that it gets those cells get full, and that happens in the gut mostly. And where is it
Liver,
that we have
gut,
all
periphery.
the trouble? Gut,
Gut.
right?
Yeah.
And what's that from? Diet,
Right.
right?
And when we say gut, it's the gut region. A lot of it is converted in the liver, T4 into T3, some of it in the gut, the actual intestinal tract, and then some in the periphery, just to be hyper specific. But that gut region, meaning that it occurs outside of the thyroid, right? So
Right.
I think a lot of times when you look at panels in your blood work and you see, oh, I have low thyroid hormone, and you immediately think thyroid, but the truth is that 80% of that thyroid hormone is actually converted outside of the thyroid,
Right.
liver, periphery,
Right.
And also the gut, which is why gut dysbiosis can lead to thyroid problems.
Right.
And the two seem so disconnected. There was actually an amazing book written by Dr. Ron Perlmutter called The Gut-Brain Connection
Right.
and the Gut-Brain Axis.
David Perlmutter?
Dave Perlmutter, sorry.
Yeah.
No, Dave Perlmutter, sorry. And he's from Naples, where we started our clinic. And it's a great read if you haven't read that book. But I mean, he really goes deep into the science of the gut biome and what happens in the gut region and its impact on hormones and what have you. So I love this whole systemic approach that you have, because it's not always going straight to hormones. Sometimes it's putting up the guardrails, DIM, DHEA, selenium, the things that your body needs to do its job on its own. And then we also have the capacity to intervene with bioidentical hormones when things are not responding. Right.
Right. And you will reach an age, all of us will eventually, where your ovaries aren't putting out hormones anymore. Now, they will, I think the misconception about the ovaries is they will continue to eke out a little bit of testosterone. That's kind of chronic. That doesn't really ever go away. And that's kind of what's supposed to be there for you in your menopause years, although we just traumatize our bodies too much and we don't always get that production. But you do continually make a little bit of testosterone throughout your life, even at menopause. And then in general, your diet, your periphery, your fat cells, your adrenal glands, they're supposed to take over for the hormones that your ovaries aren't making anymore. And that's kind of where the big mishap happens, is we just don't do that well anymore. We're under too much stress. We're exposed to too much toxin in our diet and just in our environment. And so much of what we are around acts like estrogen. We call the mimickers.
Oh yeah, no,
right?
the estrogen mimickers.
Right.
Yeah,
In our meats and right,
or
plastics.
What
Right.
about soy?
So soy, for a long time was and consumed organic and in the right amounts, did a beautiful job.
Okay.
Unfortunately, so much of our soy is
GMO,
is not so good, and we're getting too much, and yam, things like that, or other things that can kind of give you an estrogen boost.
Yams can too. Oh, I didn't
Yams
know
can
that.
too. It's the problem is we've just altered our food source so much, and I do think that it is hard at menopause to eat enough to make up your hormone difference. I
Right.
do think it's time to get help.